Hi guys, how's it going? I am back and today I'm going to show you a comparison between the Insta360 One X and the GoPro Fusion, which I don't have with me right now. I'm lending it to a friend, but I have gone out and shot some video and some photos with the One X and the Fusion at the same time, same location, and we're going to see what the difference between the two is. I'm not going to say we're going to see which one is best because they are pretty evenly matched, and it will just be a matter of opinion, and it will be a matter of what you prefer and how you're going to use it and what you're going to use it for. Yeah, I will say right from the start though that the Fusion has been out for nearly a year. The best part of the year anyway, so they've had a lot of time to tweak the firmware, tweak the software, tweak the camera with updates, etc. And the One X hasn't even really properly been released yet, so the firmware and the software used to stitch it and render it is in beta mode. If you're watching this in a month's time or anything other than a few weeks time from the date of this video, the One X will probably be slightly better. The video quality and the stabilization will be better. This is shot with beta firmware, but it was pretty much what you can expect. It's not going to be a huge difference in a few months' time. But yeah, just going to put that out there so that you know. Let's get started. I do realize I tend to waffle on a little bit, so I'm going to try and show you a lot of video and photos and less of my face. So let's take a look at some video shot with both cameras. I've got some side-by-side comparisons shot with the highest quality in both cases. You can immediately see a difference between the two. Basically, they both shoot very high 5K resolution. The Insta360 One shoots slightly higher at 5.7K compared to the Fusion, which is 5.2K. However, that doesn't necessarily mean that the One is better. It's not all about resolution. What's more important is how the lenses in each camera capture light and detail and the dynamic range, and that kind of stuff is much more important than just resolution. But you can immediately see here that there is a difference between the two. One is much more saturated. The GoPro Fusion, I feel like it has a lot more color, it's more saturated, but the Insta360 One, while it doesn't look, it looks a bit bland, I would say. I think it's slightly more detailed. I think even if you zoom in a little bit, you'll be able to see that the One has slightly more detail, and it does shoot at a maximum of 120 megabits per second, which is big. Anyway, let's move on because I have got some moving footage. I went out and basically went running with both cameras attached to a tripod, or a selfie stick, I should say, and we'll be testing the stabilization here because both cameras, or both companies, claim to have the best stabilization of any camera ever, and I mean, they are pretty much both at the top of their game here. If you were doing this with any other camera other than a 360 camera, it would look awful and unwatchable, but the magic of 360 cameras means that you can do this kind of stuff and it's fairly stable. Both cameras are handling it really, really well. Yeah, like I say, it's pretty smooth. I would say the GoPro Fusion is handling it a little bit better. There is still, I think, slightly more shakiness with the Insta360 One, but then again, like I said, this is a brand new camera, brand new firmware. They haven't had a chance to tweak it properly yet, and coming out right from the start, like basically even before it's been released, that is a really, really good sign that it's going to end up being amazing, because when the GoPro Fusion came out, the stabilization wasn't good at all, and they managed to get to this state where it's pretty much perfect. But I think the stabilization works really, really well in both. You could do any kind of action shot and it will smooth it out completely, much better than any other GoPro or any other action camera. So yeah, if you're looking for moving video of action shots, then there is no better than a 360 camera for doing that, because look how smooth it is even when running. Okay, next up is another demonstration of how each camera captures light and color differently. Certainly the GoPro Fusion is a lot more saturated and a lot more colorful, and to be honest, I prefer that. I think that looks better. However, that is just a matter of opinion. When it comes to detail though, I think the Insta360 One is slightly better. Both cameras shoot very sharp video for a 360 camera, among the best out of any. So yeah, if you're looking for sharp video, either one of these is pretty good. Okay, yes, and another demonstration. So yeah, you can definitely see here the difference. To be honest, this was shot like 5 minutes either side, so the sky was a different color by the time that I shot with the different camera. Okay guys, I guess you can see the pattern here. Basically, the Insta360 One shoots higher detail, better detail, but the Fusion shoots, I guess, more attractive light and color. I just think it's more colorful, and I prefer that. You may not. It's going to be up to you. It's going to be a matter of opinion. Now here's another video showing how each camera deals with movement. I attached both cameras to a bike and went cycling down towards Buckingham Palace, actually. Very nice bike ride. But anyway, yeah, so the cameras are attached to a bike via a tripod. I mean, this is quite a big test for a camera to keep things smooth and stable. There's a lot of vibrations when you attach it to a bike, and the camera's moving backwards and forwards. You can't really see it here, but it is, and vibrating very violently, and each camera deals with it pretty well. You can't really tell that the camera was shaking a lot and moving around a lot. Now, as for which one is better, it's kind of hard to say, but yeah, I think that the One X is also handling it very, very well, and like I say, it's the pre-release update, pre-release firmware. So yeah, I guess I'm going to leave it up to you. Okay, we've got a couple more now, just a couple more videos to show you. This one is a very good test of how each camera deals with color. It's autumn here now, so there's a lot of leaves on the ground turning orange and pink and red, so it's a good way to see how each camera deals with the color. Now, as for which one is more realistic, I would say, it's hard to say actually. Basically, the Insta360 One X kind of makes everything a bit too dull, takes a lot of color out, whereas the Fusion adds too much in. It makes it too saturated and not that realistic. The shadows are kind of making everything a bit too dark and kind of ruining the detail, I guess. You look at the trees, zoom into the trees, you can see on the One X that you can see a lot more details and it's not as dark and as, I guess, hard to see the details. Whereas for the Fusion, if you zoom into that tree that's very dark, it's too dark. That's not what it was like in reality. Too many shadows. So finally, here is an indoor comparison, shot indoors, and I think this is where the Fusion really stands out as a slightly better camera for shooting video, because it handles light a lot better, direct light and indoor light a lot better. Pretty much see here what I'm talking about. I mean, the One X, it still looks pretty sharp and very detailed, but you can kind of see those beams of light. It doesn't really deal with it very well. It kind of looks like it's smudged, and it wasn't, because I definitely cleaned the lenses. I made sure each lens was clean before I took each one. But the Fusion looks a lot clearer and a lot, I guess, yeah, high quality, because it doesn't have that issue with direct sunlight or direct light and kind of making everything a bit blurred and a bit too bright. So yeah, I guess that's it, guys. Those are my video comparisons. It's a pretty big comparison because these are the two top 5K cameras out right now. And yeah, if you want super high quality video, it's going to be between these two. It's kind of unfair to compare them now almost, because the Fusion's been out for a while and the One hasn't. One X, I should say, hasn't. Now, you may actually be surprised which one I'd recommend. Having seen this video, I think you can tell that I slightly prefer the GoPro Fusion's video, but I would actually recommend the One X over it for a couple of reasons. The first is that, well, the price. The Fusion is nearly $700 or £700, and the One X is $399 or just over, I think, £400, 400 something pounds. Cheers exchange rate. Just from that, the difference in quality between the two isn't so great that the Fusion is worth $300 or $200 more. And I'm pretty sure that the One X, the issues that it does have with the tiny little vibrations and slight, I guess, blandness of the video is going to be fixed. And I've already fixed it. I've been able to fix it in post-production just by adding some saturation. Pretty much fixed whatever issue I had with it. The other reason I would recommend the One X over the Fusion is simply because of how much easier it is to use. I mean, for a start, it's smaller. It's got a screen that's so much more easy to control. It's got manual options, which are so much more easy to control. You can create time-lapse videos, slow-motion videos, this overcapture, which is basically why you want to get both of these cameras for the overcapture, which basically means you can create videos like this, which are really awesome. This is so much easier to do on the Insta360 One X using their software than the GoPro Fusion. Okay, so let's take a look at the photo quality of both cameras, because they can both take photos. I mean, it's not really what they're designed to do, but I mean, it's nice to have. The One X can shoot 18 megapixel photos, and so can the Fusion. They're basically fairly evenly matched. I would, at a push, say that the One X, can shoot slightly better photos. It's got an HDR mode, which it basically means it increases dynamic range and it makes it look very good. But apart from that, there's not really much between the two. And yeah, if you were just looking to shoot photos for social media, to shoot tiny planet photos, then yeah, either one is going to do you justice. It's going to be pretty good. So guys, I guess that's it. Like I said, I don't want this to be a super long video. I just wanted to get the point across and show you a comparison between the two. I don't like to make judgments because it's usually a matter of opinion. But I will say that the One X is significantly cheaper. It can do pretty much anything the Fusion can do. In some cases, the video does look better, looks sharper and more detailed. However, as of right now, I do prefer slightly the Fusion video because it's just a little bit more colourful, and I personally like that. But I would still recommend the One X because it is significantly cheaper and everything else about it is much more easy to use than the Fusion. If you really are willing to pay, you have the budget to spend $200 more just to get that little bit extra, then yeah, get the Fusion. You can obviously make a decision to see whether that will be worth it for you. So the Insta360 One X is out now. You can there's links to both the Fusion and the One X below. I think if you order it from my link, you get a free selfie stick if you buy the One X. Which is like invisible, so you can't see it. Looks like it's floating. It looks pretty cool. So let me stress, the video shot here was with beta firmware, not the absolute best it can be. So in a few weeks, a few months, it will be slightly different and probably a little bit better. But I will be uploading a lot of videos throughout the next year probably with this camera, so you can check my channel to see if there's any more recent updates if you are watching this far in the future, probably 2019. God, can't believe it's 2019 soon. I've got a written review of this camera on my website below. Check the link below and you can check that out there to see everything there is to know about the Insta360 One X. If you have any questions, obviously feel free to comment. Otherwise, I will see you later. Bye.